What if I told you there was an experiment so horrifying, so grotesque, that it redefined the boundaries of human endurance? A story so chilling that it's hard to believe it's real. Or is it? Welcome to the terrifying world of the Russian sleep experiment, a tale that blurs the line between fact and fiction and leaves us questioning the very nature of human sanity. In the shadow of World War II, the Soviet Union was desperate to outpace its enemies in every way possible. They were obsessed with creating super soldiers and exploring the limits of human capabilities. Among their rumored experiments was one that would go down in internet folklore as the Russian sleep experiment. The premise was simple but horrifying. 5 prisoners of war were promised freedom in exchange for their participation in an experiment. The goal? To keep them awake for 30 days straight using a mysterious gas stimulant. This gas was said to enhance cognitive function, eliminate the need for sleep, and create soldiers who could fight for days without fatigue. But as you'll see, the results were far from what anyone expected. What happens to the human mind and body when deprived of sleep for weeks? For the first 5 days, everything seemed normal. The prisoners talked amongst themselves, their conversations ranging from mundane memories to dark reflections on their crimes and regrets. The stimulant gas worked. They showed no signs of drowsiness. But by day 3, something changed. The subjects began to exhibit paranoia, whispering into the microphones and staring suspiciously at one another. They spoke about their fears, their doubts, and strange, incoherent thoughts. Was this the gas working? Or was it something deeper within them unraveling? Did you know that the world record for staying awake is 11 days? After just 3 days, participants began experiencing severe hallucinations. Now, imagine going 30 days without sleep. By day 9, the prisoners stopped talking altogether. They sat in silence, staring blankly into the room's cameras. It was unnerving. Then, the screaming began. One subject began shrieking uncontrollably, his voice echoing through the sealed chamber. The microphones picked up faint scratching sounds as he clawed at his own skin, tearing it away. Soon another joined in. But what was most disturbing? The others didn't react. They sat, still and silent, as if the screams were nothing more than background noise. The researchers were baffled. Why weren't they responding? Why weren't they horrified? It was as though the prisoners had lost all connection to reality. The gas wasn't just keeping them awake, it was changing them. By day 15, the researchers decided to check on their subjects. The chamber's microphones had gone silent, and they feared the worst. When they opened the chamber door, they were greeted with a sight straight out of a nightmare. The subjects had mutilated themselves. One had gouged out his own eyes. Another had ripped open his stomach, pulling out intestines and piling them on the floor like some grotesque offering. Yet, they were alive. And worse, they were smiling. They had smeared the chamber's walls with blood, blocking the cameras. The gas was no longer just a stimulant. It had become their lifeline. When the researchers tried to turn it off, the subjects screamed in terror. They begged for the gas to stay on, shouting, "I must stay awake." What could make someone willingly tear themselves apart just to avoid sleep? Let's pause for a moment to talk about sleep deprivation. Sleep is vital for the brain. Without it, the mind begins to break down. Studies show that after just 72 hours, people experience intense hallucinations, paranoia, and loss of cognitive function. But the Russian sleep experiment subjects, they surpassed anything science had ever seen. They weren't just surviving. They seemed superhuman. They exhibited immense strength, resisted sedatives, and had an eerie calmness despite their mutilated state. It was as if the gas had unlocked something primal or supernatural. In ancient China, sleep deprivation was used as a form of torture. Victims often died within weeks due to the stress on their bodies. The researchers decided to terminate the experiment. They turned off the gas, opened the chamber, and prepared to extract the subjects. What followed was chaos. The subjects attacked the researchers with inhuman strength, killing several. One shouted, "I am awake," over and over as he lunged at a guard. It took several soldiers to subdue them. When questioned, the surviving subjects uttered chilling words. "We are what you hide from in your sleep. We are the darkness inside you." One by one, the subjects were executed, their bodies burned, and all records of the experiment supposedly destroyed. But did it really happen? The true horror isn't the experiment itself, but the possibility that it might not be fiction. Here's where things get interesting. The Russian sleep experiment first surfaced online in 2010, published as a fictional story on Creepypasta Wiki. It went viral, captivating millions with its eerie realism. But is there any truth to it? The Soviet Union was known for conducting brutal human experiments during the Cold War. While there's no proof of this particular experiment, it's not entirely implausible. The effects of sleep deprivation, paranoia, and hallucinations are well documented. What's exaggerated here are the physical changes like surviving with exposed organs. While no stimulant like the one described exists, drugs like amphetamines and cocaine have been used to keep soldiers awake in the past. Could something like this have been buried by governments? The internet loves a good mystery, and the Russian sleep experiment has inspired countless theories. Some believe the story is based on real events that were covered up by the Soviet Union. Could the experiment have been an early attempt at creating enhanced soldiers? A fringe theory suggests the gas wasn't human-made, but extraterrestrial in origin, explaining the subject's bizarre transformations. Others argue the story itself is a cursed tale, spreading paranoia and fear wherever it's told. The US also experimented with sleep deprivation during Project MKUltra, a secret CIA program aimed at mind control. So, why has the Russian sleep experiment stuck with us for over a decade? It's more than just a creepy story. It taps into deep fears. What happens when we push the boundaries of science too far? The idea of losing our humanity to madness is universally terrifying. The belief that governments hide the truth fuels our paranoia. The story also blurs the line between fact and fiction so well that it feels real, even if it's not. The Russian sleep experiment forces us to confront our deepest fears, the fragility of our minds, the consequences of human curiosity, and the lengths we're willing to go for progress. But here's the haunting question. What if this story isn't fiction? What if experiments like this are happening right now, hidden behind closed doors and buried under layers of secrecy? This tale isn't just about the horror of sleep deprivation. It's about the darkness within us all, waiting for the right conditions to emerge. It's a mirror reflecting the potential monstrosity of unchecked ambition, curiosity, and human resilience pushed beyond its limits. As the experiment's subjects claimed, "We are the darkness inside you." Maybe they were speaking metaphorically, or maybe, just maybe, they were warning us. So tonight, as you lie in bed, remember this: sleep is a gift, a fragile, necessary reprieve from the chaos of the waking world. Because who knows what might awaken in us if it were taken away? And more disturbingly, who might already be awake? If this story kept you on the edge of your seat, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Mystery Junky for more spine-chilling tales like this. Sleep well if you can,